the host of the Gridiron.
All right. Welcome to the Gridiron, baby. If you can give this video a thumbs up or maybe share this video, that would be absolutely freaking phenomenal. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you. If not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. It's totally free of charge. What do you got to lose? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you want to help support my channel out, description box below, very top link, takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. Once again, I thank you in advance. Thank you. And then finally, just underneath that, there's another link. Takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 10,200 members in the group, and it is doing simply marvelous, might add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I got internet access, I am putting stuff in this group down here, 365. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. Well, all right. Well, here we are, midway point. You got the Giants are looking at the Saints, and they had some very close games. Certainly, it's one of those possibly woulda, coulda, shoulda. They gave the Bills all they could handle. They had one bad game, but they're 0-4. They're struggling. So the Giants are maybe looking at the Saints, kind of licking their chops. Oh, we might get another W here. And of course, the Saints are looking at the Giants like, hey, Giants, wow. Right? They're licking their chops. They're like, maybe we can get off the schneid. Maybe we can get our first win of the season. And I think if I heard it correctly, the Giants were the last team that the Saints actually beat like 10 games ago. So the Saints have lost. It was last year. Yeah. The Saints' first 2 games of the season, they look like the greatest team, like possibly like of all time. I mean, they were just straight up just killing people, right? Then after that, it was all downhill after that. They finished the season off horribly. The first 2 games of the season, let's just let me do a little. I know they like first 2 games, they absolutely kill people. Let me say there's 2-0, 2-4. Nolans. That's one word. Nolans Saints. All right, let's see. Nolans Saints 2024. Okay. Where are we at here? I think it was the latter first 2 games of the season, wasn't it? Yeah. 47-10 and 44-19. So was it 91-29? Then, of course, then they lost to the Eagles. The Eagles had to have an 80-yard run from Saquon Barkley to win that game. Other than that, the Eagles lose, but the Eagles lucked out once again. Then they lost. They lost a tough one to the Falcons. They lost by 2 points to the Falcons. But then they got blown out by the Bucs. They lost 33-10 to the Broncos. They lost 26-8 to the Chargers. What do we got? They beat the Giants 14-11. That was a great game. They beat they beat the Browns. They lost 34-0 to the Packers. They lost 25-10 to the Raiders. So I don't know. I mean, true. I mean, first game of the season they beat the Panthers 47-10, and we know the Panthers were not exactly fantastic last season. And they beat the Cowboys 44-19. So they look like a great team. But unfortunately, they went from 2-0 to 5-12. They won 3 and 12 in the last 15 games. So but the last team that they beat was the New York Giants on December 8th in New York. But I mean, obviously they're looking at the Giants, licking their lips, licking their chops, foaming at the mouth, like, we got the Giants coming in, right? Yeah, We quite possibly got a W here, right? Rookie quarterback coming in. We're going to talk a little bit more about Jackson Dart here in a little bit. But, I mean, they've had some tough luck. I mean, they're kind of like on the par, kind of like with the way the Giants lose some games. A bad bounce here, a bad call, whatever, a bad play there or something like that. And they wind up possibly games that they could have possibly won, they wind up losing. So they've had it tough this year. But they've been, except for the one game, I think it was against Seattle, they fighting tough, right? So, but now, of course, I'm going to talk about, they got the guy on the milk carton here. Has anybody seen this guy? But also the Giants brought in another wide receiver they were just trying out. I mean, all it is, we're going to go over him in just a second here. It's just basically due diligence, right, for the Giants. They brought in somebody just kind of almost off the streets. This is for Mr. Hyatt here. Okay, this is your third year. Okay, and it's all and all, now. To be fair, okay, what do we have last year? 4 quarterbacks last year, right? And we had Russell Wilson, and we've had Jackson Dart. So in the past 2 seasons, literally, he's had 6 quarterbacks, right? Boyle, Timmy Chicken, Cutler Parmesan, Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, Russell Wilson, and now Jackson Dart. So in the past 2 seasons, right, Jalin Hyatt's had to contend with 6 quarterbacks. 6. Okay. Different. That don't happen too often. Usually you don't have 6 actually I don't mean on the roster and including the practice squad and all of that stuff. I mean 6 different quarterbacks. And actually, what? So 21 games, the last 21 games, go back to week 1 last season, right? So from week 1, or I mean, actually, I don't know when Daniel Jones got pulled out or whatever, but I mean, if you just go back to the beginning of last season, plus the 4 games, there's 21 games. Giants have had 6 different quarterbacks in there. That don't happen very often, okay? So, the one nice thing is that Hyatt's been here the whole time. Dable's been here, not the whole time. This is his 3rd season, but he got drafted, right? They thought enough of him. Now it kind of makes you kind of think, did they really go out and do their all-out, stone cold, bona fide due diligence on this guy? Blitnikoff winner, right? Did they, or was it like, oh my God, the Blitnikoff winner, this guy's fast. The Blitnikoff winner's out. He's still available, 3rd round. Maybe we should go get him. I mean, we don't really know. I mean, they talked to him. Hyatt, remember, he sort of, it was, I don't know, it wasn't Hard Knocks, whoever it was, but Hyatt, he visited the Giants and they talked to him and stuff like that. So they were talking to him. But I mean, did they really do the best they could have? Or was it just kind of, they were like, oh my God, that's the Blitnikoff winner. He's still out there, right? I mean, he what did he catch? He got 74 touchdowns that one game against Alabama, But if you also notice too, and it would bring this up on Big Blue Kickoff Live, that when he was catching passes against Alabama, there was like nobody within like 35 yards of him. It wasn't like he was jumping up and plucking the ball out of thin air, grabbing it at one hand, and So, but this is his 3rd season. Okay, same coach, same system, 3rd season. Okay, they brought back. Darius Slayton. Hyatt supposed to be fast. Slayton's fast too, right? But he hasn't beaten out, Slayton, right? So this is really going to be, um, uh, this is it. Chips in the middle of the table there, baby. Because, I mean, if you can't, if 3 seasons, if you can't, I really don't think they're going to be, letting them go or nothing like that. I mean, I'm sure they'll probably keep them around for the 4th season, but it'd be a shame. It'd be a wasted 3rd round pick, and we traded up to get him to. So of course, it's a 3rd and a 5th. So we spent 2 draft picks to get the guy, and now his rookie season, it was okay. Was it 23 catches or 20 something catches? Okay. The last season, I mean, hello. So, and you also got to figure too, it's like with Evan Neal, Jalin Hyatt, right? Guys like that. It's kind of like, it doesn't mean that Dable's right all the time, right? But his job's on the line. I mean, if he thinks that Hyatt can, perform at a high level and this, that, and the other thing, and apparently, might still have problems running routes or maybe getting off of coverage because they have to put him outside. Maybe, that might be one of the things they might have a problem, trying to, jamming him and him getting off of coverage and whatever. But said the same thing with Evan Neal. I mean, if his job's on the line here, so if they actually think that, Hyatt's doing pretty good. I think he could, if we put him in the lineup, I think he might do some stuff for us. My job's on the line. Let's keep him on the bench. I mean, that's not happening. I mean, what I'm saying? Same thing with Evan Neal. I mean, Greg Van Roten really hasn't been, straight up killing people. I mean, he's been out there, right? So they actually thought that maybe Evan Neal could nudge him out, right? They might have Evan Neal in there, but Evan Neal's not in there, right? So, this is big opportunity because we got little, and he's not so little, Jordan Humphrey might get elevated. Well, interesting to see if they bring anybody up. As far as I know, only got 5 wide receivers. Right, Gunner, Bo, Collins, right, Hyatt, Wandell, and Slayton. I mean, and that's one of the problems right there. I rattled off those 5 guys. Is there anybody there scares you? Nope. Theo Johnson, Daniel Bellinger, Chris Mainertz. Then the other, Cam Scatterboo, Motor Singletary. Nope. Now, if we had a good offensive line who's good at run blocking and all that, Cam, as long as he doesn't run into a goalpost or something and knock himself out of it, give Cam the ball and he can grind out some yards and all that, get that running game going. Okay, but I mean, there's nobody on this team that scares anybody. No way. Hyatt with this Hyatt and Slayton with their speed, but we will have to wait and see. But I mean, with Mr. Hyatt, this is put up or shut up. So this is from the Post, New York Post. Ryan Dunleavy. Giants Jalin Hyatt getting latest now or never chance to make his mark. It feels like now or never time for Jalin Hyatt. Yes, it does. This is 3rd year. Okay. Usually, what they say also is usually it's not written in stone or anything like that, but it's a good benchmark. Okay. They say usually by your 3rd season, for the most part, whatever. 4 out of every 5 players, whatever. I don't know, 5 out of every 6. Whatever. Usually by about your 3rd season, you are what you're going to be. a lot of times that first season or two, you got the rookie, you're learning stuff and all that. You're learning how to become a pro and all that. So you're supposed to keep going up. You should keep going up and up and up. And usually around your third season is about how the best you're going to be. This is his third season. Let's see. Yeah. It would be shocking if he was just very mediocre this year and his fourth season he took all. I mean, they've all said he's worked very hard. They're all, everybody's saying the right thing too. The Coach Dable, obviously Russell Wilson, Kafka's talking about him too. And all, they all say he's working his butt off. Now, if it's still having a hard time running routes or exactly what it is, or maybe he has a hard time getting separation or something, but there's no doubt he's got the speed. No doubt about that. But, whatever it is that's keeping him from becoming a star, or a starter, shall we say, in this league. But it's not from lack of effort. They said he's trying. Okay, so. The excuse for Hyatt's lack of production since the start of the 2024 season is 8 catches, 62 yards in 18 games. Are you kidding me? 8 catches for 62. He's not even averaging 8 yards a catch. Are you kidding me? In 18 games. He's catching like one ball every other game. It's like, with 3 healthy, did not dress him, but 3 of them, right? Has been a lack of snaps available because he was stuck behind 3 mostly healthy receivers playing virtually every down, which is true. I guess you got obviously Malik Nabers. Now, Malik did miss a couple games last year, but Wandale's been very healthy and Slayton's been healthy, right? So, with Malik Nabers' torn ACL is out for the season, and the Giants need a replacement to produce something beginning Sunday against the Saints. Filling Nabers' shoes is too tall in order for any one receiver. That's not happening. But perhaps Hyatt could offer the missing deep speed like he did as a rookie with 23 catches for 373 yards. I knew I'd get my chance this year. Just didn't know when, Hyatt said. Can't wait for the opportunity I've been waiting a long time for. Now just have to take advantage of it. Hyatt phoned Nabers last Sunday night after the injury, and the two had a long talk. Hyatt had just played 29 targetless snaps in Nabers' absence. He played, obviously, Nabers got injured second quarter, right? Pretty much the rest of the game, Hyatt was in there. Not one target went his way. Basically, more than half the game, they didn't throw the ball his way one time. Definitely prayers for him. But for me, it's take that next step and be ready for my teammates. And I'm going to do that, Hyatt said. He's been in my corner. He's seen the adversity I've been through. And he just told me, this is the time for me to do what I have to do. I'm going to be ready. If Hyatt still doesn't produce behind Slayton and Wando Robinson or loses snaps to undrafted rookie Bo Collins, there will be questions about how well he fits the complex offense. Once again, did they go out and do their due diligence, or they just enamored? Oh my God, this guy's fast. He caught 37 touchdown passes against Alabama in one game, and he's the Blitnikoff Award winner. Wow, we got to pick him. We don't know if he can play our offense or anything like that, but we should definitely move up in the draft and get him. So you kind of wondering, right? It could be a very big swing and a miss for Shane, especially when you trade away a 5th-round pick. Giants have done pretty well with 5th-round picks in the past, right? Shane, we traded away a 5th-round pick to get Hyatt. He might have fallen to the Giants where they were drafted at in the 3rd round. So, and whether the coaches are correctly using the skills that allowed him to win the 2022 Bolitnikoff Award as a college top wide receiver, and whether he should be traded before the November 4th deadline because a change of scenery and some return on investment is better than nothing. Yeah, I mean, he'll get lucky to get maybe a 7th round pick for him. He's having a great week of practice so far, getting himself involved in the game plan and understanding what his role is going to be. Offensive coordinator Mike Kafka said. Well, Kafka always says the right things. You know what I mean? That role will change every week. If he has an opportunity downfield to make a play or to make a play in space, I expect he'll do that. Russell Wilson spent a lot of time building up Hyatt's confidence throughout the offseason and preseason. Jameson Winston threw Hyatt a touchdown in a preseason game. But Wilson and Winston are now backups to rookie Jackson Dart. Trust starts in practice and leads into the game, Hyatt said. The biggest thing I want to bring is being consistent, getting open, being where I need to be. It was only 2 weeks ago that Dart was throwing to Hyatt on the scout team, though, right? Imitating that week's opponent, the top duo for the defense. We had a lot of work in that 3-week span before Jackson became the starter to get used to how he plays and get used to how I run, Hyatt said. I just can't wait to play with Jackson and get a win. Well, he played with him last week, too, and they didn't throw one target his way. I want to do this for the Giants organization, for Jax being a rookie, and I want to play for me as well. Offensive coordinator Mike Kafka credited offensive line coach Carmen Russillo, tight ends coach Tim Kelly, and running back. All right. So, where are we at here? But, so in week 3 against the Chiefs, Jalin Hyatt was wide on 6 snaps. This past week, he was wide on 23 snaps, and he played in the slot 6 snaps. Okay. Let me see that. I'm trying to see what we got here. Yeah. Snaps by position. I got that. Regular postseason snaps by position. Yeah. I mean, he's not even. I don't even see him here on special teams at all. Yeah, snaps. I'm looking at PFF. Offensive grades, blocking, run blocking, receiving depth, and all that. I mean, I'd say against the Chargers, he graded out of 52.8. Against Kansas City, graded out of 54.9. Yeah. He never graded out very well. I mean, his rookie season, he graded out of 59.7. Last season, he graded out of 48. This season so far, he's graded out of 52. But, the thing is, I mean, if he's not playing, special teams, and he's not getting, he's getting some snaps, but he's not getting open or figuring out the offense, maybe. I mean, it was a big boo-boo. Possibly made a big boo-boo. So, but this is his chance. Okay. Dart does a very good job being thorough and communicating with the wide receivers and everything. Slayton mentioned, I believe it was last week, somewhere along the line, I guess kind of a little late for Slayton. He was getting ready to nod off to go to bed, whatever it was, 9, 10 o'clock, whatever it was. Apparently his phone rang, and it was Dart. And Dart wanted to talk about a play. Slayton's like, what the? But so he wanted to know about like something Slayton did on a certain particular play and ask why he did that and all that and everything. So, so Dart's involved. Right. And Dart knows, right? For him to have success, everybody's got to have success, right? Everybody's got to be on the same page. Everybody's got to get the ball, this, that, and the other thing and all. And now he knows that, instead of, throwing the ball 15 times a game to Malik Nabers, that's got to get spread out amongst everybody else. So he's got to get everybody involved, right? So, and he was on the scout team or whatever it was, with Hyatt, right? So they've thrown some balls together. Okay. So it'd be interesting to see. All right. I'm sure, Jackson's certainly wanting Hyatt to do well. We all know Hyatt wants to do well. We all want Hyatt to do well, but this is his big chance, right? I mean, if basically this is his chance to seize the moment, because it's not like Malik has a concussion and he's out for 2 weeks. Hyatt will be in there for 2 weeks and then he'll be out for, no. Malik's gone. He ain't coming back this season, right? So we got 13 more games left in the season, right? So this is Malik's chance to seize the moment, and get a lot of snaps these last 13 games. Could be interesting to say. I mean, well, of course, obviously, does Wandale stay healthy? Does Darius Slayton stay healthy? If they do, good chance they might be the two starters, right? So we'll have to wait and see. Does he start? How much does he play? How much does Bo Collins play? Do they elevate anybody? Because they only got 5 wide receivers. Okay. One of them's Gunnar Olszewski. So he might not even be, you know what I'm saying? So that means these 4 guys, right? So, I mean, they could put Gunnar in the slot. They could put Wandale in the slot. And then they have Bo Collins who'll be outside. They got Hyatt who could be outside. They got Slayton who's outside. So do they want to bring somebody else up, elevate somebody else up, maybe from the practice squad? Also, let's not also forget, if Tracy's out too, they only had 2 running backs last week. Are they going to want to go into Nolans with only 2 running backs once again? Motor Singletary and Cam Scatterbo? Or they want to elevate Turbo, right? It's going to be interesting to say. But as I said, this is his chance to go out and seize the moment. Right? Let's hey, I'm pulling for him, but it's just kind of freaking head scratching. His 3rd year. Has all that speed. Blitnikoff Award winner, so he can't be that bad. Why can't he get on the field? Like when he's on the field, he's not. They're not throwing the ball. What's going on? So the Giants here just kind of doing their due diligence. This one's a little bit of a Samori Toure, a little bit of a head scratcher. They worked him out of wide receiver. He's not much. I mean, he's about 6'3". He's not very, he's not a big body, right? I mean, he's 6'2", 6'3", not very heavy. The thing is that, which is a little, I guess, they're like doing their due diligence. He doesn't really play special teams. So, or hasn't played special teams so far in his career, from what I can really see. I'll share my screen here in a minute, So I'm a guy who hasn't been that overly impressive as a wide receiver, and it doesn't seem to play special teams. I don't know. But once again, they're just bringing people in. They're just doing their due diligence. So, just you tip your cap to him. But he transferred to Nebraska. Now, when he was in Nebraska, his final season in college. Now, he was it Montana? Hold on. The Montana Grizzlies? Yes. He played college football for the Montana Grizzlies before transferring to Nebraska. For his last season was at Nebraska. Okay, but he was with the Montana Grizzlies. There you go. That football powerhouse. Oh, where are we at here? Okay, nope. Hold on, I got it. Yeah. Somewhere? I guess not. I had his I had his college stats up here, but I clicked out of them. In Nebraska, he caught his 1 year with Nebraska. He caught 5 touchdowns. Well, I mean, Nebraska it's not like an air raid kind of offense. You know what I mean? So, but when he was in Nebraska, he caught, it was like 17 or 18 yards of reception. So, not too shabby. Okay. But let me share my screen. I'll just show you, just nothing super spectacular that he's been in the pros here so far. Once again, I do apologize. I got 342. Here we go. tabs open, so I got to find this. But we'll look here, okay? Here's Mr. Torre, okay? Now, what year is this? 20. So this, has he played it all this season? What was he done? All right, the snaps by position. So 2020 is 20. That's this season. So we'll go to 2024. Nothing. 2023. Okay, here we go. All right, okay, all right, he was on. It's in 2023, right? You look. Okay, he was out wide. He was in the slot. He was in line. He was in the backfield. He was on one punt return all season. That was week 17. Week 17, he was on a punt return. So he doesn't seem to play special teams. He got in some snaps here. I'm going to read over, 75 and 57. So 75. So it seems like most, because he's 6'3". He plays mostly out wide, but he does have, he can play in the slot as well too. Once again, I really think this is just kind of like just due diligence. All right, let's see. Let me go here. See special teams, right? So he's played on 3 special team snaps, right? So I don't understand, once again, I get the due diligence part. I get it. I'm not a general manager, so I never will be, right? But I don't understand why you bring somebody in who's not, if he's not going to play, if he's not a special teamer. Yeah. So, I don't think, let's go offense here. Let's see what he has done on offense here. 2023, nothing super spectacular, right? His first season with Green Bay, he played 112 total snaps on offense, graded out of 49.3. 2023, he played 139 snaps with Green Bay, 60.6. And apparently, last season he didn't play anything at all. And he hasn't played anything so far this season. So, once again, it's a little bit of a head scratcher. I'm not exactly sure, but why they brought him in. But New York Giants work out former Green Bay Packers draft pick. Giants have placed, obviously, Malik Nabers on season-ending injury reserve following his torn ACL, and now they are on the hunt for replacements. Now, as I said, it also, it's like they don't have a ton of money, okay? But if there's somebody out there that can maybe really help you, you can work with money. You can figure something out. Especially if there's somebody out there that can really maybe help you. So you look at him, okay, doesn't play really special teams, and they bring him in as a tryout, right? And then there's it just kind of shows you, and there's Odell Beckham Jr.'s out there. Now, Odell's not going to get, $10 million or something, whatever. That's not happening. He's not going to get that much money, So it's like, we're bringing this guy in, and Odell's still out there. I don't know. There's quite a few guys that are still out there. So, but with an open spot on the roster, Pat Leonard of the Daily News reported that Samori Toure is among their free agent workouts. Now, they did bring in some other guys too, but they're working out free agent wide receiver Samori Toure on Friday. Toure's 27. He was with Montana from 2016 to 2019, and then he spent his final season with Nebraska. Okay. He has 13 career catches, 160 yards and a touchdown in 22 games. So basically, every 2 games, he'll catch like about 1 ball. And he doesn't play special teams. So, I don't know. 27-year-old Toure was a 7th-round pick for the Packers in the 2022 NFL Draft out of Nebraska. He spent the first 2 seasons of his career at Lambeau Field before joining the Bears last season. 6'1". Oh, I thought it said somewhere. I thought he said it was like 6'4" 3. Okay, 6'1". All right, my bad. I apologize. 6'1", 196 pounds. He's not huge. Okay, 196 pounder who was waived as part of the final cuts in August has appeared in 22 career games with just 2 starts, hauling in 13 receptions, 160 yards, and 1 touchdown. He has taken only 3 career snaps on special teams. However, okay, one of Torre's best career games came against the Giants, if you want to call it that, when he caught 2 catches on 4 targets for 22 yards, 1 first down, and a career high 13 yards after the catch. Right? It's unclear who else worked out for the Giants. And then, of course, in unrelated moves, it wouldn't be another week if the Giants didn't release Toman Fox and reel him back in and put him on the practice squad. I think that's the 75th time we've done that this year. So, but I don't know. I mean, there's other guys out there. I don't know, who, or why. I mean, they're bringing somebody in who only has 13 career catches and apparently doesn't have a long injury history, and he would be very, very cheap. But to put somebody like him and bring him in and actually have to want to put him on the roster, and he doesn't play special teams, I mean, that's a real freaking head scratcher. Real head scratcher out there. I mean, I there are a lot of other guys out there, but all right. Now, the Giants and the Saints, they're both the Giants are 1-3, Saints are 0-4. So they're both at the bottom of the barrel, okay? But they both have something else in common as well. Both teams have a very lengthy injury list, okay? Now, of course, we all know it's the New York Giants. Now, it wouldn't be a football season if the Giants didn't have, 337,000 injuries to report every week. Now, somehow, I don't know how some teams, have like 1 or 2 guys that are injured, and the Giants have 75,000 guys. I don't know how that works out every year, but once again, the Giants are, well represented on the injury list, but so are the Saints. Okay. Now, let's not forget the Saints. I think it's Ruiz, their guard. He's going to be out. Okay. So that's going to help the Giants. Okay. Right. Let's not forget, right? And they were talking about this too on Big Blue Kickoff Live. I don't know why, especially with Harbaugh. He loves running the ball. They ran the ball like 13 or 12 times last week for like 150 something yards. They got like 70, almost 80 yards on 2 carries. Remember, Herbert had that 24-yard scramble. And then, of course, Hampton's long touchdown runs. It was about 80 yards, somewhere around there between those 2 runs. Well, they ran the ball like 10 other times, or 10, 11, maybe 11 other times for about 70 yards. I don't know why Herbert, I don't know. Let's just keep throwing the ball. I don't know. They're averaging 11 yards a carry. 11. Let's keep throwing the ball. Let's get our star quarterback. Let's get him. He's getting hit on every play. Let's keep getting him pounded. Maybe he'll get injured. Maybe he'll crack a shoulder or something like that. He'll be out for the season, and our season will truly be over. Let's keep doing it. I don't understand that. I mean, makes no sense to me. Absolutely no sense to me. But that might be, something the Saints might want to do as well too. Right? Maybe take advantage of the Giants. Yeah, they're not doing a phenomenal job at stopping the run. Okay. But with Ruiz out, that'll certainly help the Giants. Right? So let me see. All right, let me share my screen. As I said, nice long list here. There we go. Today's yesterday's injury report. Let's go down here. There we go. All right. The Saints. Okay. Now, the guy right here, Mr. Yadam, right? Right. Remember him, right? Juwan Johnson on Wednesday did not participate. Trevor Penning, tackle guard with an ankle, he did not participate. Dylan Radins, offensive line with a toe, he did not participate. Cesar Ruiz, center / guard, I think primarily a guard, but apparently he's supposed to be out, from what I understand. Chase Young, it wouldn't be another football season if Chase Young wasn't injured. I mean, it's a shame the amount of talent the guy has, but I mean, he's a walking injury. It's a shame. He has a calf. He did not participate. Taysom Hill with a knee, he was limited participation. Foster Moreau, knee, he was limited. Trey Palmer, a wide receiver, he has an ankle, he was limited. Justin Reed, their safety, he has a knee, he was limited. John Ridgeway, the third, defensive tackle, he has a shoulder issue, he was limited. And Isaac Yadam, the cornerback with a hamstring, he was limited. So, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They got 11 guys listed. Okay. Once again, this was yesterday. You'll notice here, the Giants. Right, what do we got? Giants got what? What do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We got 13 guys, right? Now, Dexter, he has an illness. What it is, obviously, they won't tell you, but he has an illness, so he did not participate like on Wednesday. I know Greg Van Roten, he had just a rest day, right? Tyrone Tracy with his shoulder. It looks like he's getting better. But quite possibly, just from what I'm hearing anyway, it doesn't sound like he's going to be playing in this week against the Saints. Then you got Tyler Nubin with a groin. Okay. Unfortunately for the Giants, and we all three of our safeties have a little something wrong with them, right? Holland, Nubin, and Belton all got something wrong with them. So that's not very good. Right. Okay, here we go. All right. Here we go. Okay, here. So you got Belton in with a shoulder. He was limited in participation. DJ Davidson with a foot. He was limited. Chauncey Golston, still waiting for him to. He's missed a few games now. If he doesn't wind up playing, he was limited. Nacho, once again, him with a foot. He was limited. Well, waiting for him, right? But Chauncey Golston, DJ Davidson, Javon Holland, he has a neck. He was limited. So, John Michael Schmitz with an ankle. He was limited. Nacho with a foot. He was limited. Jackson Dart with a hamstring. He'll be good to go. Cam Scatterby with a knee. These guys were all for full participation. Russell Wilson somehow with an ankle. I don't know. He didn't play. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Twisted an ankle getting out of the bathtub at home or something. I don't know. He got me. But the bottom three guys, they're all for full participation. So they'll all be good to go. But let's see, the Giants here. We got some. All right. Because they did get some. They have some good news. All right. Jackson Dart and Andrew Thomas appear ready to go after the victory over the Chargers. Dart was a full participant with his hamstring issue. Right. He was wearing compression on his left leg by the time we came out for the end of practice. So, but Dugan also relayed that Andrew Thomas was not even listed on the injury report, which I found kind of shocking, especially after only 2 games. But you figure he only played 20-something snaps in week 3, and then he played a whole game last week. And I'll tell you what, man, thank you. He played whatever you want to call it, maybe a game and a half, and Andrew Thomas has a lot of pressure yet. That one, I brought this up, because a lot of times, when unless you go back and look at the film and the tape and all that stuff, and a lot of what I do is when they snap the ball, I'm following the ball. I'm not looking at, who's blocking who's going this way, who's going that way. I mean, I'm following the ball a lot of time. But that one play when the Giants had the ball around the Chargers, what was it, 11-yard line, 10-yard line or so, and Jackson Dart wound up taking the ball, and of course he got hit in the backfield. Our whole offensive line was either on the line of scrimmage, like laying on the ground, or in the backfield. We have no push whatsoever. So Dart got out of the hit, and he rolls out to the left, and he jumps, dives across the 10 down like the 9-yard line, so we get the first down. Okay, but it was like it was like, where's the push? Why can't we? What the is going on, right? You kind of wonder why we can't score in the red zone, right? And you kind of wonder why, you hand the ball to the Scatterbo, and he got to run into 13 guys before he can maybe gain a yard or something. It's like, right? But if you notice on that one play, right, Andrew Thomas has got, can't remember what his name was, guy for the Chargers, and he's standing up and he's like pushing the guy back, and he's like pushing him. I mean, he's like running off the screen with this Dupree, might have been Dupree. It was like running off the screen with him, just like blocking him, standing up. Like, that's what we need, right? Hey, good old Andrew Thomas, right? But I mean, it was just like we have like no push whatsoever, right? But Andrew Thomas, let's hope the guy can stay healthy for the rest of the season, man. It'd be fantastic. So far, he's really looked good, really good. Let's see here. Needless to say, there's great news about Andrew Thomas for the Giants as they prepare for the Saints in Week 5. Obviously, with Malik Nabers out for the year, Dart and Thomas are easily the two most important players on the offensive side of the ball. With them being healthy, Big Blue has a much better shot of winning their second straight outing on Sunday. Let's see here. So Dugan reported the following from Wednesday's practice once again. Head Coach Brian Dable said Tyrone Tracy Jr. with a shoulder, Van Rote with a vet day, Sexy Dexy with an illness won't practice Wednesday. Dable said that they don't expect to start the clocks to return for any of the players on IR or PUP, like Joshua Zudu, Victor Dimukeji, or Rico Payton, right, this week. On Tracy, Dugan aired, Tracy worked out on the side with trainers, and that Tracy was joined by safety Tyler Newman, who was in and out late in Sunday's game. Newman was wearing a sleeve on his right leg for his groin. The official October 1st injury report listed Lawrence, Newman, Tracy, and Van Roten as players who did not participate in practice. A large group of Giants were also limited at practice on Wednesday. They were Dane Belton, Javon Holland, DJ Davidson, Chauncey Golston, Raheem Nunez, Roches, and John Michael Schmitz with his ankle. So, as I said, and then, of course, you got Dart with his hamstring, Russell Wilson with an ankle, and Cam Scatterbo with a knee. They were all listed as full participants. So, but, I said, you notice I said all three of the safeties, okay, all have some type of issues. So it'll be interesting to see if anything that affects anything for the Giants. Or it'll be also interesting to see if they do elevate somebody from like the practice squad, right, as maybe as a little bit of added insurance in the safety department. So we'll have to wait and see. Now, of course, right, it always seemed, just once again, I ain't no expert. I ain't never going to claim to be an expert. I'm just listening to what the expert got to say, right? So it always seemed like at the time of the draft, right, for Dart to go in the top 10 or whatever, it just seemed like a reach, okay? Yeah, I mean, obviously, so far, so good. He's played one game. He's 1-0. He played very well, all that stuff and everything. The time is going to tell if he's a true star, if he's a starter for the long haul. The Giants got themselves a quarterback. Yeah, you don't know. But there was always that, you never know. You never know, especially when it comes to quarterbacks and the NFL draft, right? I mean, you look at the year before, guys. What do we have? Like 37 quarterbacks got taken in the top 10. I mean, it was just crazy. Everybody, you get a quarterback, and you get a quarterback, and you get a, right? So, but you never know. I mean, somebody, surprises you. Somebody takes somebody. It's like they took that guy at number 7, that quarter. It happens. But there was always a possibility because, if look at the Saints, what they had there. Is it their roster? I mean, hold on there. I got some. I had. No, that's not it. Well, that's that. I mean, so far, we got Tyler Shuck. Okay, they did draft him. Okay, and they got Spencer Rattler. But on their practice squad, I had it. I guess I must have. No, I guess I must have got out of it. Must have clicked out of it. I do apologize here. Yeah. But, then they have like, it's like, it's not an imposing, quarterback situation. I mean, it seems like they're riding with Spencer Rattler, who I think is 0-10 in his career. It's like, hey, some guys might take a little while to bloom and stuff like that and all, but they did draft Shuck. But I don't know. Hold on here. I got their. Let me pull this up here. Who else is on their freaking roster here? They got to have another quarterback here. Let me go. No. Oh, here we go. Roster. Okay, let's see here. All right, let me see now here. Who is on their roster? Quarterbacks. I mean, you figured they'd have 3 of them. Rattler, Tyler Shuck. Is that they only got the 2? Oh my God. I never even heard of this guy before. Hunter Deckers from Iowa Western. Never heard of him before. Hunter Deckers. They don't even have a picture for him. Wow. Okay. He's been on and off the practice squad. So I mean that the Saints, is not a, their quarterback situation is nothing to write home about. It's not like what the Giants, especially what they had, right? Especially with Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan. I mean, they have quite possibly a future Hall of Famer, Russell Wilson. Okay. Who I'll take over Tyler Shuck any day. Okay. Then we got Jameson Winston. I mean, he can throw you in a game. He can also throw you out of a game, right? But he's also thrown for over 5,000 yards in a season. He's thrown for over 30 touchdowns in a season. One of the problem is he's also threw for 30 interceptions in a season. So, but he can throw the ball, right? So I mean, you look at the Giants' quarterback situation is, as I said, it was a shame that they had to let Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan go, right? But then you look what the Saints' quarterback situation is, kind of scratch your heads. I mean, that's especially if your starting quarterback hasn't won. Now the Saints are playing the Giants this week, so they can certainly win this week. Spencer Rattler could certainly get his first win in his career this coming Sunday. Ain't no doubt about that, right? But I mean, it's not an imposing quarterback situation. Now, one of the things they were talking about was they were talking with Dart. Is he kind of carrying any kind of chip on his shoulder, right? He's carrying a Saints chip on his shoulder as the new Giants reality takes hold. Jackson Dart is no saint, but he thought there was a chance he would be after he left his pre-draft meetings in Nolans. Giants and Saints were among the most quarterback-needy teams entering the 2025 draft, and Dart was one of the main prizes of the class. Dart hasn't forgotten the perceived slight after the Saints passed on him with the number 9 pick. Now, I said number. It just seemed like number 9. I mean, look how, the Giants needed a quarterback in the future. They passed on Dart at number 3. They had to jump back into the first round to get him. Okay. Dart hasn't forgotten the perceived slight that the Saints passed on with the number 9 pick, choosing left tackle Kelvin Banks Jr. as he prepares to lead the Giants into the Superdome on Sunday. I think there is always a chip on your shoulder anytime that something like that happens, Dart said after Wednesday's practice, the first before his second career start. I'm just going to play as hard as I can. I felt like my visit with the Saints went good. So you kind of had thoughts in your head during the draft of what options are realistic. And I definitely feel like that was a place that could have panned out, but things didn't work out that way. I mean, I would have, to many people's eyes, that would have been a pretty big reach to take Jackson Dart at number 9. But it is what it is, right? On the night of April 24th, the Giants had trusted intel that the Steelers were not going to draft a quarterback at number 20. But then all bets were off. So that was one of the other things. Was somebody going to get past the Steelers? I mean, they got Aaron Rodgers. Okay, great. But, Aaron Rodgers is going to be there for the next 20 years or whatever. I mean, no. They'll be lucky if Aaron Rodgers is there next year. Yeah, so. As general manager Joe Shane paced the draft room looking to move up from number 34, he told his brain trust that he was specifically wary about trades the Browns number 33 and number 36 and the Saints number 40 might make into the 20s. Now, as I said, the Browns got 2. They picked number 33 and number 36, right? It's really hard because you were trying to come up with what other teams are going to do, Shane said on Giants Life. You assume everybody has their boards like yours. You like a player, you're assuming everyone else likes him. That's definitely not the case, though. There was lots of buzz in scouting circles connecting the Saints and Dart. One of Shane's mentors, former Dolphins general manager Jeff Ireland, is a Saint executive. Ew. The Saints brought Dart in for multiple meetings, and Dart felt like he built good relationships with head coach Kellen Moore. Guys got it up here, the offense, right? And offensive coordinator Doug Nussmeier. But nothing compared to the rapport he built with Giants head coach Brian Daboll, whose job security could ride on Dart's rookie development. After Dart led an 89-yard touchdown drive on the opening possession of last week's upset win against the Chargers, Daboll turned to the crowd, pumped his fist, and yelled, "That's our quarterback," or "That's our guy." I thought he said quarterback, but that's our guy. So he was pretty pumped up, right? "I love it here," Dart said. "There's not a place I'd rather be. I love how passionate people are here outside of the facility, within the facility. I like the attitude the East Coasters have here." Dart is displaying a little New York-minded toughness this week as he practices with tape around his left leg at the start of practice and a compression sleeve at the end. The result of soreness from 9 quarterback hits being the line of scrimmage and tackles at the end of 10 of his carries. "Some of the sacks I took were some of the biggest ones hit-wise that I could have avoided," Dart said. "A lot of them in the open field were on third down. I'm not going to slide before the sticks. I don't really regret any of those decisions. I'll be good to go." The Giants had pre-draft trade parameters in place with the Chargers, number 22, but that deal fell apart when running back Omarion Hampton slid further than expected into San Diego's arms. So I can't blame him on that one. I mean, we saw what Hampton did against the Giants. I mean, the dude, good running back. It helps if you give him a hole too. But you'll notice the one thing is with him compared to what Scatterboo brings is if you give Hampton a hole, he can take it the distance. Scadaboo's not that guy. He's not, maybe he's got some moves. He'll also try to run you over and all that stuff. But you give him a hole, it's not guaranteed he's going to be able to take it all the way. You saw Hampton. You gave him a hole, and the angles the Giant players tried to take to catch him, which wasn't good enough. And he was gone. So I can't blame him. So Shane executed a trade with the Texans at number 25 to get Dart, while on the other phone line with the Rams general manager Les Snead, who was picking number 26 and feared internally to be eyeing Dart. Ooh, so I thought he was a top 10 pick. ESPN NFL analyst Dan Orlovsky told the Post. He was asked to do a lot of difficult things at Ole Miss. He knows the why of the plays. Once you know why, if you don't get what you thought defensively, when you call that play, then you know what the problem is. Post-draft reports indicated that the Saints had Tyler Shuck, a seventh-year senior, graded ahead of Dart. Shuck fell into their hands at number 40 and is their backup behind Spencer Rattler, a second-year pro with an 0-10 career record. Giants hosted Shuck for a visit, conducted a private workout, and sent a contingent, including Shane, to his pro day at Louisville. I think he's a good player. Has good athleticism, Dable said of Shuck. He has his own story and his own journey, but I had good visits with him leading up into the draft. I think very highly of him. But Dart was identified as the Giants' future then, and he is the present now. It was just one game, Dart said. Our expectation is to win every game. You can't make it bigger than what it is. So it would be interesting now, right? It would be very, very interesting now, wouldn't it be? If something happened, nothing happened to nobody. I don't even want an Eagle player getting injured, and that's hard for me to say that. I hate the Eagles. I'm saying if something happened to Rattler, and you had Shuck in there going up against Dart, right, head to head, that'd be pretty cool. But hey, it worked out for the Giants because you never know. It just seemed like, maybe Orlovsky said Dart was the top 10 pick, but it just seemed like almost everybody else had taken Dart like in the top 10 of the first round was kind of a reach. But certainly only time will tell. Okay. And speaking of time will tell, this worked out pretty doggone good for the New York Football Giants. They won big time on this trade. Now, when you're a general manager, there's no general manager out there that goes 100%. That's almost, pretty much, it goes without saying. You try to win most of them, right? I don't know, whatever, 3 out of every 4, whether it's a draft pick, whether it's a free agent signing, or whether it's a trade, or whatever it is. You try to win 2 out of everything. There's nobody goes 100%. Right. But what he did do, right, was, with the trade, right, and he's looking very nice right now with Brian Burns. Now the one thing that I hate about those type of trades, right, especially if you miss, because you got to shell out draft picks. That's one. Then you got to shell out money. That's 2. And boy, you do the double dipper there. You better have a pot of gold at the end of that rainbow. It's kind of like one thing, if you just, I don't know, whatever, maybe you trade and you get somebody in return and they're still on their rookie deal or something like that. You don't have to shell out a ton of money. Or if you get them and they're a free agent and you have to shell out a bunch of money, but you don't have to trade draft picks or something like that. But it's the way it is. Yeah. But when you have to shell out some draft picks, and as I said, Shane has not hit 100%. His first couple drafts are not overly phenomenal, but we've seen the past couple of drafts haven't been too bad, right? So, the picks that Shane gave away to get Burns, he certainly could have, done some damage with some of those draft picks that he gave up. Of course, then you have to pay. It's like, you're dishing out almost $30 million a year to a guy. It's like, guy better be good, and so far. Now, to be fair, last season, Burns had he did very good, but he was like, oh, there's always something wrong with the guy. I'm certainly not saying he's 100% now. You play one game in the NFL and you're dinged up. I don't care for the whole season. It's impossible. Yeah, that's not happening. John Madden used to say, right? I don't know exactly, but I'm not going to argue with him. But he used to say he played one down. I think he said one down in the NFL. Your body's. I don't think he said one game. I think he said if you played one down in the NFL, your body's never the same. Right? He would know. Not that he played. Because he was in training camp, I think, with the Eagles, and he blew his knee out or ripped his knee up or whatever it was, and so he couldn't come back. So then he got into coaching. Okay, but he was around a bunch of players. He's seen stuff happen to players and everything like that. So he would know a thing or two. But it seemed like last season, Burnsy was always something like a groin or this or that. There's always something wrong with him. But I'll tell you what, that guy every week went out there and gave it his all. Every week. Whatever was wrong with him, the dude was out there. And so far, he's tied for the lead with 5 sacks. The sack he had, that's what you want. Okay, now to be fair, obviously the Chargers' offensive line was banged up. But when you have good pass rushers and their offensive line is bad, you got to take over the situation, right? You got to dominate. That's what they did, right? But one thing you want to see is when one of your big players, one of your big time players, right? Makes big plays in big situations. And that sack he had on Herbert was huge. Oh, it was huge, right? Made him where they had a punt back to the Giants. Okay, that was a huge sack. But not only that, he's had a sack in every game. Okay, so he's done very, very well. Now, of course, knock on wood, right? Some guys help other guys open things up, like obviously the presence of Abdul Carter. Okay, Sexy Dexy, he gets 2 guys most of the time, right? Abdul, you can only double team so many guys, right? So last year they had Kayvon, they had Burnsy, and they had Sexy. Okay, now they got the fearsome foursome. Okay, and so far they're still all healthy. Nobody's missed any time for the most part. Dexter's getting his sea legs back in him, right? But they're all still healthy, right? And they all feed off of each other and everything like that. But so far, the Burns trade is real, and we got him for 5 years, right? Now he's as old as Sexy, okay, 7th year, I think it is. So they're in their prime, right? But somewhere along the line, they're going to start, so it's 2 real good guys that we got on the defense that are in their prime. And, it's a shame. You hate having like somebody like Andrew Thomas, Malik Nabers, Sexy, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter. You have these guys, and like the season, you don't do well in a season. It's almost like a lost season. It's like another season with these great guys we have on our team, and couldn't do anything with them. It's like, but so far the Burns trade has really, really worked out well. So the Giants are quietly winning big on the trade everyone thought was reckless. Safe to say that Shane isn't feeling burned by this decision. Now, I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what, Burns, love you, man. Thank you so much, man. Fantastic. He's taking this seriously. He's trying to do the best he can. He's taking. It's just ain't this. But he's also proven on the field too. The guy's been a freaking warrior, absolute freaking warrior. Man, that was fantastic trade. So, and we all know this. Joe Shane didn't exactly inherit a dream scenario when he took over as general manager of the Giants in 2022. 4 years later, it's still hard to sell fans on this regime as one that is worth extending. The roster is starting to take shape, thanks to mostly to rookie Jackson Dart looking like the answer, but there's still just as many questions as there were back then. Shane isn't sitting comfortably. Another slow start to the season will do that. However, the Giants' impressive 21-18 Week 4 stunner of the previously undefeated Los Angeles Chargers might be the turning point he needs to get back in the good graces of fans. Some moves fell flat. Others gave this team a fighting chance to climb out of the pits it's been stuck in for years. And Shane swung for the fences trade for the pass rusher Brian Burns is proving to be one of the smartest moves of his tenure. Giants trade for Brian Burns is aging better than anyone expected. At the beginning of the 2024 offseason, Shane swung a deal with the Carolina Panthers to bring Burns to East Rutherford. Big Blue gave up a second and fifth round picks along with a fifth round pick swap to get the deal done. So basically, we swapped fifth round picks, right? But we gave up a second round pick, right, and a fifth round pick for Burnsy, right? At the time, reactions were mixed. Teams don't usually part with day one or day two picks in the middle of a rebuild, but Shane believed the two-time Pro Bowler was worth it. Not only did it cost them draft capital, it cost them financially as well too. And that's the thing. It better work out. I mean, if you're doing that, cost your draft capital and financially, man, it better work out, boy. Let me tell you what. But with the often injured Azeez Ojulari, okay, I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, Azeez, when he's healthy and he's on the field, I'll tell you what, he's a really good edge rusher, but he's always injured. It seemed like he was always injured. So we needed somebody a little more reliable, right? Then they didn't bring Azeez back. They let him go. But, so we got Kayvon, okay, and we got Brian Burns, and then we got Sexy Dexy up the middle. Now we got Carter. We got the Fab Four, right? They immediately signed Burns to a 5-year, $141 million deal, making him the second highest paid edge rusher behind Nick Bosa at $28.2 million per year. Some saw it as a long-term investment. Others questioned his fit on the rebuilding roster and whether his production justified the price. Burns' first season with the G-Men was good. He recorded 8.5 sacks, 17 tackles for loss, 16 quarterback hurries, and an 82.9 pass rushing grade. Pro Football Focus. That alone wouldn't necessarily make the Giants big winners of the trade, but in year two, he's turning the Panthers' decision into an outright embarrassment. The 27-year-old is on an absolute tear to start 2025. Through 4 games, he leads the league in sacks with 5, has 6 tackles for loss, 13 quarterback pressures, and an 88.7 PFF grade, which is 9th out of 165 defensive ends. He's just off the pace to challenge Michael Strahan's single-season sack record at 22.5. If he keeps this up, he's looking at his 3rd Pro Bowl, his first All-Pro nod, and maybe even Defensive Player of the Year. Though team success will have something to say about that. That's true. That's true. Now, one of the things the Giants can help, which would be huge in that area, which is, easier said than done, is to get a lead. Keep a lead, okay? Get out in front, right? Make the other team have to throw the ball where he can get in the edge position and just tee off, either, on a stunt, a twist, or whatever, just take off from the, right after the tackle, right? Right? But the Giants can get a lead, keep the lead, and force the other team to kind of like maybe throw the ball. That gives them more sack opportunities. The thing is when the Giants don't have a lead, they can't stop the run. What's preventing the other team from running the ball? Well, if the other team has a lead and they're running the ball, well, Burns, he ain't getting no pressures. He ain't getting no sacks. He ain't getting no hits, right? So the biggest thing the Giants can do to help them out, obviously, would be to get a lead, keep the lead, right? With the Panthers sitting only just 2 lowly sacks through their first 4 games. Wow. 2. You can guarantee they're kicking themselves for sending Burns away. With no zeros ascension and Carolina struggling laughably, Shane and company are looking like big winners by the week. Hindsight's a funny thing. There were doubts early on, but now it's pretty clear this might be one of Shane's best goals yet. So, I mean, he, it wound up working out. Really worked out well. I mean, we had the bookends. Okay, I think they're all really, benefiting. Off of each other, right? I mean, because you got Sexy's always getting double teamed. Carter, I mean, the dude is just, he really looks unbelievable. I mean, it's like anytime, it's almost laughable, really. It really is almost laughable. Okay, he's not getting the sacks. Okay, but I'll tell you what, man, you line that dude up on the edge against, I mean, it's like almost any tackle, and they snap the ball. It's a joke. It really is a joke. I mean, it just the ways he dips around the edge, or he goes up and he spins off the tackle and comes on the inside. It's just amazing how fast that guy is. It's unbelievable. But they all have to, feed off each other, right? I mean, because if obviously if they might want to send a back out there to chip on something like that, right? Maybe have the tackle, right? Have an inside, keep to the inside, maybe have Burns, Carter or something, maybe try to come around the edge, but you send the back out there, maybe chip on him or something. But you can only put 2 blockers on only so many guys, so that's why, they're all feeding off each other. When somebody's getting dealt with a team like Sexy, that means, almost everybody else is almost getting a single, blocker. You got to win those, right? And so far, Burns, Carter are doing a phenomenal job of that. And Kayvon's doing pretty well too. He's doing pretty well too. Now, thankfully, the Giants, right, picked up Kayvon's 5th-year option. So that means next year we're going to have the Fab 4 back again. Okay, so at least this season and next season we got those 4 guys. So that's fantastic. But I mean, as of right now, Burns is really, and the thing is that sometimes you get some of these guys that come in and they get paid and all of that. Some, not many, but some guys, they think they're just like, I don't know, privilege and stuff like that. They get their sacks and Burns he's like dead serious as they come in. I mean, he is Mr. Professional. And, as many bad things as you can say about the Giants, as many bad things you can say about Shane and Dable and all that, this trade to get Burns was really, really good. Really, really good. And speaking of trades, finally, okay, let's go. I mean, now they're not going to, if anything were to happen, right, Pod, they're not going to, I wouldn't want to do it either, because they got Jameson Winston for 2 seasons, right? Now, have him as your backup quarterback, sign me up for that. I ain't got no problems with that at all. I mean, you're not going to usually have, with your backup quarterbacks, you're not going to usually have somebody like Tom Brady in his prime as your backup quarterback. You're not going to have Peyton Manning in his prime as your back. There's going to be an issue for the Bible, with the backup quarterback. There's going to be something, right? Well, what the Giants have, right? I mean, they have quite possibly a future Hall of Famer, Russell Wilson, and Jameson Winston as the backup quarterbacks. That's not a bad situation. But you can start looking, right? I mean, you can look. I mean, oh my God, the Bengals. Oh my God. I mean, they might as well just not even play the rest of the season. I mean, it's possibly Joe Burrow might be back. Maybe December, but I mean, the season will be over by then. I mean, it's just a shame. It goes to show you, if you lose your star quarterback, it's just wow. Now, where we at here? Is this them? Okay. So now the thing, I mean, because, just there was the rumblings, shall we say, right? Right. You lose your quarterback this early, you still got a chance. Okay. If you lose your quarterback, after the trade deadline, or you lose your quarterback halfway through the season or something like that, and you're whatever, say 10 weeks in and you're 4-6 or something like that, and you lose your quarterback. I mean, you might almost kiss the season goodbye. But early in the season, still got a lot of games left to go. Now, if you look at the standings, let me pop these standings up here. Let me share my screen here. Once again, you got to forgive me here. 74. Oh, there we go. I got a ton of tabs open. Okay, here we go. I mean, if you look at the AFC here, I mean, there's not a bunch of teams. I mean, as of right now, that let's look at the AFC West here. Okay, Chargers are 3-1. I mean, the Broncos are 2-2, but they're not really lighting the world on fire. And Lord knows the Chiefs ain't lighting the world on fire either. Okay, and we got the Raiders. They're in rebuild mode. Okay. I mean, you got the Colts, who were 3-0. They lost here. I mean, they're an okay team. I mean, are they, are they the Packers from the 60s? I mean, are they? No, they're not. They're going to start coming back down to earth. They might win the division. Okay, but are they that phenomenal of a team? No, they're not. Okay. Then you got the Jaguars. Okay, 3-1. But once again, I good for them. Okay. But then you look at this division here, right? The Steelers, they lose Aaron Rodgers. I mean, right? Are they going to be able to rebound from that? Right? So, they're right. They're only a game out, right? And then you got up here, right? The Patriots are 2-2. The Dolphins stink. The Jets blow. And you got the Bills. I mean, there's not like 8 or 9 teams that are phenomenal in the AFC. I mean, you got what? 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 5 teams that have a winning record in the AFC. You got 16 teams. Only 5 of them have winning records as of right now. So it's really, really early. So I mean, they could really benefit. Somebody, maybe getting a quarterback in there, right? And especially if you got the wide receivers. Holy cow, right? But if you look at, Cincinnati. I mean, they. Probably, can I get up here? Is that it? No, let me see here. I click on the Bengals. All right. Okay. They won a couple tough games, right? They beat the Browns at the first game of the season, 17-16. Then they beat the Jaguars, right? The Jaguars are 3-1. With Burrow in there, they beat the Jaguars. So, right? Then, of course, they only lost 48-10 after Burrow was out, right? They've scored 13 points the past 2 games. 13 points. Their season's over with. It's over. Forget about it. They got to play the Lions. Then they got to play the Packers. Then they got to play the Steelers. Then they got to play the Steelers again. Then they got to play the Ravens. They got to play the Bills. They got to play the Ravens. Holy cow, Batman. Their season's over with. If they don't do something, their season's over with. Forget about it. Forget about it. Put a fork in them. Forget about the Bengals. Right? I mean, this is like, all right, where the heck are we at here? Does this say? Okay, here we go. Position. I mean, the quarterbacks, Jake Browning, who's in there now, who's their quarterback, scored 13 points in the past 2 games. Jake Browning. Who else they got here? I mean, it's where's the other guy? Brett Ripien. I wonder if he's related to Mark Ripien, the quarterback. He used to be the quarterback for the Washington Redskins the last time they won a Super Bowl after the 91 season. They have another quarterback in here. Yeah. Oh. Joe Burrow's on injured reserve, practice squad. I mean, I never heard of this guy. Sean Clifford. I don't know. He's from Penn State. Do they have another guy? Is there another guy or no? Oh, yeah, Mike White from Western Kentucky. So they got, Those are the four quarterbacks. Ain't none of them going to take him anywhere. Absolutely nowhere. Right? So the thing is like, with the Bengals, right, as far as needing a quarterback, it's like, wait, we'll give Browning another few weeks, and maybe he'll get his rhythm down, and we'll start going on a roll. No, it's not happening. Your season's over with. Just go home. That way, nobody's feeling gets hurt. Just forfeit it's just straight trash. Straight trash. They need somebody. If they you got these two wide receivers out there, right? Right? And who likes to throw that? Right? Who's good at throwing a deep ball, right? Wow. So there's been some chatter, right? There's straight chatter about a New York Giants quarterback trade reported. The 49ers won. Overtime, 26-23. Congratulations. Now that he's no longer quarterback number one for the Giants, fans have been wondering if the Giants could get something in a trade for Russell Wilson. A report published on Tuesday indicates there might be a chance. Pro Football Talks, Mike Florio reported that there's been some straight chatter, whatever that means, about the Giants trading Russell Wilson to the Bengals, who are struggling without injured quarterback Joe Burrow. Burrow is expected to be out until at least mid-December following toe surgery. I mean, by the time he comes back, they're going to have double-digit losses. I mean, their season's over with. The Giants currently have a pair of veteran quarterbacks who aren't playing, Russell Wilson and Jameson Winston. Both played for AFC North teams in 2024. With rookie Jackson Dart leading the Giants to an upset victory over the Chargers, one of them is expendable. And as I said, I wouldn't trade away Jameson Winston because you got him for 2 seasons. He's going to be a backup quarterback for 2 years. Right? Wilson has $1.55 million in remaining base salary after 4 weeks. Winston has $1.51 million. Wilson's incentive package includes $176,000 for each win in which he takes at least 50% of the snaps. Last week, there was straight chatter of Wilson to the Bengals for a 5th-round pick. And while a deal for Wilson or Winston is possible, the current dynamic could be made that neither side wants to make the first move. In a high-tech world, it's the lowest of low-tech negotiation tactics. Don't make the first move. The general thinking is that whoever picks up the phone first surrenders leverage, which is true. Whatever the Giants would have wanted a week ago for either player, they'll be inclined to want more from the Bengals if Cincinnati were to call today, which is true. Given last night's outcome, whatever that may, I don't know, whatever the Bengals would have offered a week ago, they'll be inclined to nudge it lower, given that Dart's performance highlights the fact that the Giants don't need both veterans. The trade deadline arrives 5 weeks from today. If the Bengals wait until the clock approaches midnight, the cause could be lost, especially since they face the Lions, the Packers, and the Steelers in the next 3 games. I mean, they could easily be 2-5. After 7 games, they got 5 losses with 10 games left to go. And they go 500 the remaining games with Burrow out. They'll have 10 losses. They'll be 7. The season's over. So, if they don't. They want to give themselves a freaking chance. I mean, they're not going anywhere with the quarterbacks they got, right? Both Wilson and Winston have the arm strength to deliver the ball down the field to Chase and Higgins. I mean, they got those 2 wide receivers. You paid big money for these guys. You're going to let this season just go away without even trying? Given Chase's obvious frustrations from Monday night, he quite possibly would welcome a potential upgrade given Burrow's indefinite absence. The Bengals have lost both of their games with Jake Browning starting in place of Burrows. In 2+ games, Browning has 3 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions, and a 67.9 passer rating. The Bengals have generated just 13 points in losses to the Vikings and the Broncos. 13 points. That's Giants. That's Giant-esque. Getting 13 points of offense in 2 games. That's bad. It was 6.5 points a game. Holy cow. The Giants are going to trade one of their 2 veteran quarterbacks. Wilson is the one who would seem to make the most sense. Winston is a fine backup quarterback, and he has a low-cost 2-year, $8 million contract that ties him to the Giants through next season. Wilson has a 1-year deal. Now, a backup for the first time in his 14-year career, it seems unlikely the 14-year veteran would accept returning to the Giants next season. Absolutely not. Of course, Florio did not report that there are active discussions between the two teams. He was referring to straight chatter. That could mean almost anything. It could be a league executive saying, if it was me running the Bengals, I'd ask the Giants for Wilson. It could be a league insider saying, if I was the Giants, I'd want a fifth rounder for Wilson. It could be Florio reading fan-driven internet chatter. Who knows? This is from Ed Valentine. He says, my view, though, is that General Manager Joe Schoen and the Giants can get a fifth-round pick for Wilson, and whether they realistically can, I don't know. That is something they have to do, isn't it? So, but some of these teams, when as the quarterback carousel turns, right? Some of these teams start losing their quarterbacks. If you don't have somebody, the Giants have some capable quarterbacks now. Yeah. Now, of course, we lost Nabers. So, but some of these teams, it's like you look at their quarterbacks, their backup quarterbacks, and it's like part of one of the problems, of course, is you look at obviously who's on the team, right? Now, because when you got to start paying, like a Joe Burrow, right? Big bucks. And you got to pay Higgins big bucks. And you got to pay Chase big bucks. All these big bucks add up. No pun intended, right? There's only so much of the pie left for the rest of the team, right? So it does make it difficult. But, it'd be a shame, for those guys, for the Bengals to have those two stud wide receivers. And it's a shame. It is. It's just the modern NFL, right? Your quarterback goes down in week 2 and he's going to be out for 3 months or so, whatever. Your season's almost over. It's a shame, but so going to be something to keep an eye on. Especially as time goes by, because there are going to be some teams that are going to need some quarterbacks, and you got a future Hall of Fame quarterback, quite possibly a future Hall of Fame quarterback as our backup number 2. And even when we trade him away, now you got Jameson Winston steps up. Now he's quarterback number 2. I'm fine with that. Right? Russell Wilson has his limitations, but Jameson Winston has some limitations as well, too. Right? But so that's something to look out for, right? Especially if we get maybe a 5th-round pick for maybe a Russell Wilson. Right? I said, we got Micah McFadden in the 5th round, too, right? So, not saying that Shane will take a 5th-round pick and then hit it out of the park with it, but we've seen in the past he can do pretty well with the 5th-round pick. All right, guys, been 1 hour and 33 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay this, once again, thank you so much on the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me, it really does. And as always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants!